Yes, my people, back again with another banging video. As you can see, my hair is growing out. Perfect, beautiful. So if you've clicked this video, you're probably trying to build muscle with your diet. And I've been coaching people over the last 3 months, helping them to achieve their desired bodies, or at least get close to it. And I believe you can too. That's the reason you're here. So with no further ado, let's just get straight into it. The first thing you want to be prioritizing is a high protein intake. So high protein intake essentially just means you want to be maxing out on proteins, and to find the right amount of proteins every single day that you need to be having, focus on 1.6 grams so like within the range of 1.6 grams to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, or just to make it even simpler, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, like 0.8 to like 0.8 is pretty decent. 0.8 to like 1 gram or 1.2 grams of protein per gram of body weight. And essentially by doing this, you're maxing out on proteins. So if like you're focusing on proteins in the morning, like eggs, and then you focus on proteins in the afternoon, chicken breast, steak, etc., and then for dinner you're having like beef or whatever you like want to stack up on. And then for all you protein powder guys, like you could just just adding the right amount just to fill the gaps. But I wouldn't even recommend protein powders. Definitely would recommend people that are like going gym and trying to get like fit to take something like creatine monohydrate, which is really good for like just bumping up the certain areas that you're lacking in for the protein intake. But yeah, max out on protein, super beneficial, and definitely the number one tip for maxing out on your muscle building diet gains. So definitely try that out if you haven't already. You probably know this already because you've been watching my videos for such a long time, and you already know that like I'm a strong believer in like maxing out on protein. So max out on proteins. Second thing on my list is a calorie surplus. So if you are trying to build muscle, that means you want to put on weight, and make sure, I'm not saying like you want to put on fat, but you want to put on weight. So therefore you need to be on a caloric surplus. This just means you're eating more than you're burning every single day, and essentially you want to be focusing on at least 200 to like 250 extra calories every day. So essentially if you're burning 3,000 calories every day, you want to be eating 3,250 calories every single day. Therefore you are on a caloric surplus, and you would put on more, you would like start building more mass. Essentially that's the right amount to like avoid putting on excessive body fat. So if you go like any like if you're eating like 1k calories more than you should every day, then obviously it's just going to turn into fat. But if you're like slowly increasing it, like if you're on a slow steady increase every single day, then obviously it will start to become muscle. If you're training, eating healthy, it will start to become muscle, and it will show. It's super important to be on a caloric surplus, because then if not, you will just like pretty much just be staying the same. I hope you don't want to stay the same. No one does. Every day you want to look better, and you can only do this especially if you're on a muscle building diet, and you want to build muscle, then you need to be on a caloric surplus. If your goal is to slim down, then obviously you need to just pretty much just do the reverse and just eat less calories every single day than you're burning every single day. So if you're burning 2,000 calories every day, you want to be eating, if you are trying to lose weight, you want to be eating 1,800 or like 1,750 calories every day. Therefore you'll be in a 200 to 250 caloric deficit. So that is essentially the opposite of a surplus. So hopefully I haven't confused you guys. If you're trying to build muscle and put on more weight, 250 caloric surplus, that just means you're eating more than you burn every day. If you're trying to lose weight, caloric deficit, essentially just 200 to 250 less calories than you eat every single day. It's as simple as that. And finally, the last thing is try to balance your micronutrients. So essentially things like carbohydrates, obviously healthy carbs are essential for giving you energy throughout the day, and you want to be aiming for 4 to 7 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight. And it's super important that you just always try to like write down in your notes what you need to like be eating if you can. Obviously, I know a lot of people are busy, but like the more you have like a track record of what you're eating and like how many grams is going into your gut, it's a lot easier for you to know like what's working, what's not working. Should I increase this? Should I decrease that? Oh, okay, I'm seeing certain body parts looking certain ways. Should I increase this? It's just like when you have things written down for like the last month of what you've been eating every single day, and you know exactly how many grams and you know exactly what you're eating, it just makes it so much easier to just, control what you're eating to get that desired body faster. But if you've not really been tracking anything, it just makes it so hard. And obviously you don't want to put yourself in a difficult situation where like you're doing everything that you think you need to do to actually get your desired body, but nothing's working, you're not getting any results. But if you've been tracking everything, then I could literally just look at that and be like, okay, change that, change this, and let's see what happens in the next week or two. And then you'd probably would either like put on more like body mass, and like you'd probably have more muscle. Like the thing about muscle is that it could be lost very easily, and also you might think you're putting on muscle, but it could just be fat. So be very mindful of what you're eating as well. Like at the end of the day, you could be in a caloric deficit, but if you're eating shit food, then it will show on your skin. Maybe it might show up as pimples or stuff like that, and you don't want that. At the end of the day, you want to look good whilst also building muscle. So that's why it's very important to eat healthy. And finally, the last thing is fats, which obviously is very important. Fat should persist of 20 to 35% of your entire calories for the day, and fats are really good for your hormonal health. Things like nuts, avocados. It's super important to be eating fats every single day. These are like the cornerstone of your muscle building diet, and if you're avoiding fats, then there's literally no point of like obviously being on a muscle building diet journey, because at the end of the day, like you want to regulate your hormones, especially as a man. I don't know how like women's hormones work, but as a man, like it's super important to like have the right amounts of fats to control your hormones. And this will help you to restore muscle, build muscle faster. And if you pair it with all the other two things that I've mentioned in this video, then you should be like well on track to getting your desired body. So those are the three things. Obviously I've dived into them a little bit deeper, so you kind of get what each thing does, what protein does. You should be able to tell me how many grams of protein you should eat every single day. You should be able to tell me what a caloric surplus is and how much you should be on a surplus for the day. And essentially you should know how much fats you need to eat every day and what fats to go for. Like obviously at the end of the day, there's ChatGPT. If you're like confused about anything, just literally just give it a message. I'm just telling you what I've done and what's worked for me from my own personal experience, and hopefully that will definitely work for you. Check out my school community in the link in description. See you guys, take care, peace.